Welcome back to Warehouse War 4. Energy has been electric in the venue, and we are back with some more blocks for you guys. I'm Kevin with a K, joined by my OG Georgia Static, Ducks.
Well, I cannot say how happy I am to be at this venue. The atmosphere and the venue at Rocketown is electric. There have been great games. We just saw Hammer Bro taking out Winter. Rare to see Ice Climbers, and now we have another amazing set coming up with Cybil and ShinyMark.
Yeah, absolutely. Cybil, ShinyMark is going to be interesting. We actually have 3 Falcos in Winter's side top 64, 2 of them from my region in Chicago, my new region, in Cypher and Eclipse, and now we also have Cybil joining the ranks. Now, the other 2 have easier matchups, right? We've got, I think Cypher is against Zomba. One of them is against Zomba, one of them against SkyJ. So they have a lot easier time matchup-wise. This is not that. Pikachu Falco seems terrible.
No, it seems like a matchup where if you do try to establish that aerial dominance, you really can't do anything to force a win condition because there's so much faster frame data on the side of ShinyMark that there's no real clear path to victory except, like you've mentioned, just playing a solid fundamental base game and basically abusing the reflector from Falco.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's really not a good way to approach. You can't hit up tilt because Pikachu pancakes. You can actually hit up tilt more reliably on Pichu than you can Pikachu, which is just crazy to me. And then, yeah, how else do you really approach, right? Like, you can hit a nice dash attack, but if you miss that, you're getting comboed to hell.
Yeah, it's a huge risk, especially because of the linearity of the recovery, where if you go for an illusion at a predictable angle, that's a pretty easy back air for ShinyMark to take advantage of.
Yeah.
But even more importantly, if you're going low, and let's say you Firebird right back up to the stage, again, you can either get sent into the stage, you get sent into a tech situation. There are thousands of ways for ShinyMark to exploit your recovery as Falco.
Yeah.
So maintaining your ground and your composure, especially off stage, are huge assets for Cybil right now.
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely going to be a core aspect of the game plan, but ShinyMark is just so comfortable off stage and planking under the stage and really controlling the pace of the game that Falco's biggest weakness being approach ability, being closing the gap in neutral, really just having rough neutral altogether is going to be heavily exploited.
So you said how there are a couple of Falcos, especially in your region.
Yes.
What is there that Cybil can do to possibly open up ShinyMark?
So here's the issue. There's no Pikachus in my region. So I don't know. The next closest thing I could think of is maybe Inkling in region. And even then, it's really difficult. I mean, you play around lasers the best that you can. Inkling can low-profile lasers. I don't think Pikachu really has that same ability to, like, dash in and deal with lasers. But you probably want... I would imagine you'd want a longer stage if you're playing Pikachu. You just get all the room in the world to set up T-Jolt, and you probably want like a Smashville or like a Hollow Bastion, ideally, if you're playing Falco, or Battlefield if it's left open. I have to imagine ShinyMark would ban all 3 of those, though.
Yeah, there's almost the double-edged sword of triplats where Falco can abuse them, Pikachu can abuse triplats, but I think elongating the stage, much like going to small battlefields, is an easy way for ShinyMark to try and open up the game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting off right now on small battlefields, good neutral stage to start off on. You definitely don't want to start PS2 if you're Cybil here, so I like the compromise to go to small battlefield. You get to play around T-Jolt a little bit more effectively. You can back up Reflector and not get punished for it, but if you're playing in the scramble situation against ShinyMark, Pikachu's going to win every time.
More importantly, I think Cybil might have gotten caught a few times just trying to push a button out of disadvantage. We see a lot of forward airs and other items being thrown out to try and deter ShinyMark.
Yeah.
But eating the percent consistently is not an easy way to open up ShinyMark. But that back air, close, but not enough.
Yeah. like 2% more, I think it would have worked out. But ShinyMark has the ability to cross to the other side of the stage a lot faster than Cybil can on Falco. It's just a great way to reset neutral when you're off stage.
Using the wall jump to good effect there, but I think small battlefield might work against you if you do try to go for that same trick. The T-Jolt to take you out, but the up air closing out quick. Up tilt, up air, pretty consistent.
Yeah, ShinyMark's going to look for like making an aggressive approach here. And finding the forward air, I mean, is a great way to start off, right? You want to bait ShinyMark into doing aggressive things. We've seen a lot of those thunder, like B-reverse thunders off of a wall jump. That's what ShinyMark's been doing a lot this tournament. But, I mean, Cybil was waiting for it. Cybil's definitely playing a lot more patient and is really far up this game.
Yeah, Cybil's in a really commanding position where they don't even have to make any more of these risks where they're throwing out an option to bait ShinyMark. Now you can just play a pure defensive game, use the reflector like we have seen, but also now just start trying to go for your consistent kill options, up tilt, back air, or whatever that Cybil can dream.
Quick attack does catch there. That was kind of crucial because otherwise I think Cybil would have found an up tilt into that back air. But off stage now, Cybil's trying to get back. Just goes for a really, I want to say, lazy Phantasm back to stage. ShinyMark catches it out and is continuously catching out these options. That was definitely an aggressive choice, but you cannot just Firebird at any spot. You have to be smarter about it. You have to be able to wall slide it.
And that's part of what we talked about in the pregame. You cannot choose a linear recover where you're out against ShinyMark.
Yeah. ShinyMark's controlling a lot of the stage right now, and Cybil backing up. I really like just backing up and forcing ShinyMark to approach. You have that freedom right now with the percentage advantage, but not for long necessarily. All it takes is maybe 2 interactions from ShinyMark to get above. But if you can reverse the corner pressure, that's crucial.
More importantly, just racking up more consistent percent. We're getting to this kill window where Cybil can just look for a back air and seal the stock. 2-1. Cybil's in a pretty commanding lead right now.
Cybil's looking really strong, and I'm wondering how much of this comes down to matchup experience. I don't think ShinyMark has played a lot of top-level Falcos. I don't know if there's any Larry Lur or Tilde experience, and then otherwise there's really not a lot of Falcos in region for ShinyMark as far as I know, and definitely not a lot from the events that they're traveling to. I feel like any event recently hasn't had a top-level Falco because Tilde doesn't attend too much, and there's not really a lot of others.
Yeah, completely agree with you. There may not be the representation there, but we've talked about this before in the past where top-level players like ShinyMark only need a couple of interactions to adjust their game plan.
Yep.
And again, Cybil smothering ShinyMark on defense here. It seems hard. Oh.
Big. That's a big combo right there. The drag down fair almost led into something, but I like the DI in to make sure you don't get hit by the laser into the up air. Waiting for the air dodge. Can't get an up smash there? Going for the up air. I guess it's just continuation. It's a lot safer. You're a full stock up. All you need is one quick opening, one quick option, a back air or something along those lines.
All right, the up smash does equalize, but ShinyMark has quite a deficit to erase. And at this point, you have to be watching out for any of these starters like
oh my god,
the up tilt, but that back air is so lethal. Cybil up 1-0, and we thought this might be a little bit of a hill for them to climb.
That's really interesting. So Cybil, as far as I know, has played against Jigs, another top Pikachu player, has at least a little bit of experience in that matchup. And I think that that's coming into play a little bit. ShinyMark isn't playing grounded, which I feel like is kind of the crucial aspect of playing against Falco, is that you have to play grounded game plan, play around pancaking, play around not being able to get up tilted, just fish for quick attacks. I wouldn't even bother with T-Jolt half the time probably, and play around your grab game the best of your ability. You can definitely dash up, grab on like a whiffed forward air, drift back or something like that. Just not enough grounded gameplay.
Yeah, and I think part of it is we're not scaring Cybil into shield enough.
Yes.
If Cybil is afraid to throw out those landing fairs, a nair, or any of those extension tools, it really implements ShinyMark's strategy to at least push Cybil off stage and force the recovery routes that we saw there. Using the F-tilt to secure an easy stock on stock number 2. That is the game plan that I think ShinyMark needs to start playing around, but Cybil playing really composed and, more importantly, just dancing around the effective threat range of ShinyMark.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's an interesting thing, though. Stage counterpicking. We're taking a moment. I think ShinyMark stepped away for a little bit. Got to recompose and start over the game plan a little bit. But here's the interesting thing. Stage selection for Falco versus Pikachu, I think generally like favors Falco, because as soon as you ban PS2 and like Town and City, every other stage is small, and Falco has the freedom to frame trap just as well as Pikachu could on like a Final Destination or like a Kalos. There's so much freedom to be able to throw out an aerial, but like fast fall, so that way if ShinyMark goes for an air dodge, you can follow it up really easily. I mean, there's just so much freedom in flatter stages, and in the smaller stages, of course, keeps it really claustrophobic for Pikachu to get hit by any errant thing that a Falco might throw out. An random aerial or an up tilt will cover so much more of the stage. So I really don't know what stage you pick here as ShinyMark if PS2 is banned, which I imagine it will be, and if Town and City is banned.
I think part of it is, I hate to say this, Hollow Bastion might be the choice. You can camp under that center platform and essentially create a tent that Cybil has to move around. Where if Cybil comes to, let's say you try to draw through the platform, do a nair, and then extend into a grab, it's not necessarily as free. ShinyMark can react to the drop down.
Right.
So there are ways for him to intercept what Cybil's offense might be.
That's an interesting thought process, because I feel like it's a double-edged sword. If you have a Falco playing underneath the platform, there's a lot less ways for Falco to approach a Pikachu under a platform, it's true, but if Falco gets under the platform, you get an up tilt, like fair drag down onto the platform, up throw, up air, and that's an easy kill on a Hollow Bastion's short ceilings. I mean, that's a scary, scary place to be.
Yeah, it's very, very scary, especially when back air has been so potent. Compressing blast zones, period, is, I think, part of a necessary risk you have to take, because it goes two ways. We've talked about how Cybil can't recover to the stage using the Firebird, but think about getting F-tilted if you go for what you called a lazy illusion right back to the stage. You get called out with an up smash, an F-tilt. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
You're gone at 80-90%.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I think that we have to go back to the original game plan and try not to put too much onus on which stage you go to. Yeah. Probably running it back to small battlefield is the best shot for ShinyMark. And then just play around forcing shield pressure, like you said, forcing Cybil to shield more, playing around grab game more, playing a lot more grounded, because you're going to get air-to-air like crazy by a Falco.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you're talking about. You need to find a way to enforce the shield and scare Cybil into doing anything else than trying to oppress you with aerials that are just outside of a range where you can jump and react with fair. But we did just get confirmation. We're running it back to small battlefield, much like you said. Yeah. I think this is where ShinyMark is going to take those learnings from Game 1 and start applying it and hopefully trying to shift their game plan more towards shielding.
Yeah, ShinyMark is #1 seed at this tournament for a reason. He's young, he's adept at adapting incredibly well. We've seen him make reverse 3-0s on a lot of top players. I don't think that this is necessarily going to be any different. I fully expect to see ShinyMark renewed in this game.
But here we go, back to small battlefield. And ShinyMark playing a much more aggressive game so far, already coming out swinging and trying to force Cybil into the corner.
Yeah, there's some shield pressure right here that we're talking about, but off stage and parry, that's such a good and crucial parry. Oh, I love the DI in to ensure that you can't get dragged down to the platform. ShinyMark is showing a little bit more adjustment.
More so now, just using that fair as a deterrent, trying to tell Cybil, you can't necessarily jump in on me for free. I like how ShinyMark is immediately using the Skull Bash to get under the stage to try and recover and regain some composure under the stage. But Cybil just running away with this game right now, 98% essentially unanswered. Yeah,
we're talking about ShinyMark's adaptation and doing a lot better than before, but that's really not saying much because Cybil still has the game fully in their hands and has been racking up the damage like nothing has changed. Like, finding the openings, making the most out of the openings, and not getting worried about the scrambles. What a crazy up smash. Great DI from ShinyMark. Didn't even matter.
A good call out, and I think you mentioned this earlier. Cybil is actually playing a pretty defensive game where you're just deterring ShinyMark from attacking you, whether it's with aerials or anything else. Cybil's using Nair to great effect, but getting consistent conversions. Only 60% onto Cybil's first stock. ShinyMark might have to start looking at another way to approach.
Up air juggles are a great way to do that. Falco doesn't have a great way to deal with people underneath them. And if you can continuously up air juggle like this, then you can force a lot of situations. As long as you are grounded right afterwards, just a short hop up air and then ground yourself so that you can get fast speed to wherever Cybil chooses to drift. That's not what we're seeing though. Cybil's just getting more leases on life every single time that ShinyMark doesn't over-aggress, or does over-aggress, I should say.
Cybil at 117, and now ShinyMark trying to slow down the game using the T-Jolt. I think this does make sense, so you're locking Cybil into the reflector.
Yeah.
So you can bait that behavior, but right now, 76%, you're threatening up till back air.
Yeah, and in theory, I agree with you, but the situation is that Cybil is closing the gap underneath to punish T-Jolt with like an up tilt, but ShinyMark did pressure with T-Jolt there, forced Cybil to roll to the other side of the stage, and then found a dash attack to close up the stock. I think ShinyMark's going to try to take the pace of the game into his own hands now, if possible.
Yeah, you can definitely try to take the tempo into your own hands, but part of this is just getting Cybil to commit to the shield.
What a crazy option.
I was about to say, that was so close to a quick stock loss. And I like how Cybil is threatening ShinyMark to drift away from the stage.
Yeah.
Just do not get back to the ground.
Absolutely. But here's Cybil's like red flag right now, right? This is the Achilles heel, is the aggressive recovery options. If ShinyMark keeps pressuring Cybil off stage, maybe going for some throws or forward airs to force Cybil off stage, then all you have to do is react to one aggressive recovery option, and Cybil's gonna die. That said, Cybil's not giving it up.
Cybil is doing a great job of calling out similarly aggressive recovery options. The fair, extremely well placed, giving Mark nowhere to run. But now this is where I don't think Cybil can keep recovering this high. They are going so high so consistently. Ooh.
The grab punish on the quick attack. This is insane. Cybil looks so practiced in this matchup.
It's so consistent. Cybil is executing a game plan and just adhering to a fundamental principle. I'm not going to go in. I'm going to let you approach. But more importantly, I'm going to wait for the whiff and get a 60-70% conversion just off of it.
Yeah. A little bit late on the grab there. ShinyMark is able to start a little bit of an advantage state. 69%. You're going to have to swing for the fences here if you want to close out the stock. You cannot go for any more guaranteed combos. You kind of just have to find a nice tech read or a jump read like that to force Cybil in disadvantage, the forward air to force them off stage, and now a punish on the recovery. That should be it, and there it is.
Yep, this is what we talked about earlier. If you punish the linear approaches, or recoveries rather, that's where ShinyMark is going to make the most out of their stock closures. Yeah. But it might be too little too late. 76% onto the board. It's a huge mountain to climb. And even though you get this recovery to the other side of the stage, you can T-Jolt camp out.
Oh my god.
Oh
my god, what a chase. That's crazy. A combo, big combo starter. The neutral air dodge does save Cybil, gives another chance here, but 69%, ShinyMark has fully closed the gap.
I was going to say, Cybil's slightly losing a little bit of composure. That iron defense is slowly starting to fade away. And now Cybil's getting a little antsy and throwing options out almost preemptively.
Oh my god, that was a crazy reverse back air. If it had gone the other direction, maybe it would have been death, but not quite happening. The forward air catches out the quick attack, and Cybil goes up 2-0 against number 1 seed ShinyMark.
What a great clutch by Cybil. I mean, how often do you see this type of Falco gameplay where it's extremely cagey, patient, but more importantly, it's based around a punishment style where you're exploiting one mistake, one opening, and it just leads to a stock closure.
At its, from a bird's eye view, ShinyMark is falling behind early, which forces Pikachu to approach Falco, thereby negating Falco's big weakness, neutral and approaches. So if ShinyMark can play a little bit more patiently, a little bit more bait and punish at the start, go up like 50% or even maybe a stock, then Cybil's going to have to approach, and we're going to see a much different game plan.
And look at the Cybil now trying to harass ShinyMark back with the lasers and essentially daring ShinyMark to invade their space.
I love this, just constantly backing up, and now 50% advantage for Cybil. And this is the opposite of what you wanted to see if you're ShinyMark in this situation. Trying to aggress early to find early damage probably wasn't the move, and now we're going to see a lot of what we saw in games 1 and 2. Cybil playing back, forcing ShinyMark to approach or aggress, use quick attacks unsafely, and then find grab combos.
doing a really good job of finding openings in ShinyMark's offense, but now I don't know if there's an easy way to break Cybil out of the corner. They've been very intentional about cornering themselves to abuse ShinyMark 97% and launching them off stage.
Staying on the same side. The Phantasm back air should kill. It does. Cybil's up a full stock. Cybil's trying to send ShinyMark to losers in the first stage of top 64.
Cybil is in a commanding position right now. 70% on the first stock. This is looking pretty similar to game 2. If Cybil can just hold this defense and survive the onslaught from ShinyMark, this can be all but over.
This is a big concern right here. That's a big read. ShinyMark getting back to stage, using that quick attack in place on the platform. That's crucial, but man, Cybil is keeping this corner pressure so heavy.
And now ShinyMark is just looking for a way to get back to the ground. And Cybil, again, just really good at executing and almost taking the stock. About to lap and has lapped ShinyMark in percent.
Oh my, I mean, look at this laser pressure. Not able to punish the quick attack, of course, it's so difficult to do so, but just backing up, keeping the corner pressure hot, forcing ShinyMark to use aggressive roll options, and now we're up 2 stocks. ShinyMark is on his winner's side stock to Cybil, local Southeast Falco hero.
South Carolina is extremely excited right now. Cybil can close this out, just doing such a good job of sharking against ShinyMark. Any landing is stuffed with
and it's an SD.
That's it.
That's tragic.
A 3 stock to close out your set versus ShinyMark. Cybil must be on cloud 9 right now. What an upset.
Oh my god, that was incredible. What a show of display. I think it just kind of, it does speak to what I have to assume is lack of matchup experience from ShinyMark here, because this is normally a matchup that Falcos heavily struggle with, but Cybil looked really confident that entire time, played very aggressive, played very confident, but bait and punish style for like 80% of the game. The aggression is what allowed for the openings, but the bait and punish is what brought it home.
Yeah, we talked about this over the course of the set. They did a great job playing defensive, playing cagey, but exploiting any openings that were left by ShinyMark. You can see that there may have been some misplaced aerials, but knowing that they can exploit the T-Jolt camp, 3